Ladies and gents, welcome back. I hope everyone had a good Canada Day long weekend. I'm sure everyone will believe me when I tell you that I did. Now let's get into the story. Canada Revenue Agency has fired 20 of their employees and is investigating hundreds more for scamming the Canadian Emergency Relief Benefit, known as CERB, that was set up to relieve people affected by COVID-19 lockdowns and restrictions. Now, this is from the National Post here. CRA fires 20 employees, investigating hundreds more for claiming CERB while working for the tax agency. Late Friday evening, a spokesperson confirmed that the organization was investigating 600 of its workers it suspects inappropriately received the $2,000 per month benefit. The Canada Revenue Agency, again, says that they've claimed, that many people. In a statement late Friday evening, agency spokesperson Sylvia Branch confirmed the organization was investigating 600 of its workers it suspected inappropriately received the benefit while working with the CRA. It also confirmed that the agency had fired 20 of them to date, but more are surely to come as investigations progress. Now, the latest data comes from the CRA that the CRA suspects up to 1% of its 60,000 employees may have collected CERB while ineligible, a number the agency calls very limited. It's a lot. It's a lot of people. Now, this was really interesting to me because there's no mention of this in this article, but this was a story that broke months and months ago. But this has been updated as recently as February 15th, 2023. Now, this is a situation where a caller called into a radio show claiming to be a member or an employee of Canada Revenue Agency and said that he was amongst many of them that were sticking it to the government by falsely claiming this money and admitted it flagrantly on this radio show. Now, this is an article. It was hard to find the original clip. I searched all morning, couldn't find it, but this is a clip. This is not the clip, but this is an article from the Western Standard talking about what happened there. So according to Blacklock's reporter, a caller identifying himself as Jonathan made the allegations in February 9th podcast of the Alex Pearson Show on Radio CFIQ Toronto. I'm a revenue agency collection agent, he said. The caller said he was among a Facebook group of agency employees opposed to the pandemic mandates who claimed the $2,000 a month relief checks. There is hundreds of us that did it just to kick back at Trudeau, he said. How pervasive was this? Asked the radio host. Well, we had our own Facebook group and we were all on it, replied the caller. There were hundreds of us. You know what? We took the CERB for the rest of us for the rest of what we could get from it. We know the system, Alex. We know. We don't give our social insurance numbers, he says. Jonathan said they didn't feel any remorse because the public gets the government they elect, okay? These were the policies of the government. So there's a lot of cases across the CERB and its implementation where lots and lots were scammed. I'll leave links to a few articles here. Closer look at where the $82 billion in CERB payments went over the pandemic. Lots of people being told that they have to pay it back because they didn't collect when they were eligible, but the government just handed it out willy-nilly nonetheless. Now, in a situation like that, they would just give it out to, well, anybody, it would seem. It would seem that anybody was collecting it. Now, a lot of people who were eligible, inversely, were told to pay it back nonetheless and have not been doing very well with asking for why they're being told to pay it back in the process. Are just being told, nope, this is what's going to happen, and you will be garnished for your wages. And nearly $12 million in CERB payments sent to applicants with foreign addresses. This one article from CTV puts out there, and it's just ridiculous. Now, on to these federal workers. Are there any The question here is any of them actually being charged with this? We know that some are being fired and some are being investigated, but are there any charges being laid out? And well, at the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, Michael Cram, this is about 5 months ago, was asking this very question and got some interesting replies.
As of September 2022, the agency and the department had identified employees that claimed COVID-19 benefits. Is that to say that CRA and ESDC employees were referred to law enforcement for criminal investigation?
So yes, there were employees in Canada Revenue Agency and Employment and Social Development Canada that were identified having received payments, and there was an internal investigation that kicks off first. It's then up to the department and the agency whether they refer that case to law enforcement. But we felt that investigation was the right first step.
Okay, well then I guess I will ask the witnesses from the CRA and ESDC how many employees were subject to internal investigation and how many cases were referred to law enforcement.
Not much of an answer there.
I guess maybe I'll back up for 1 second, just to say that when we look at the CRA, we treat public servants as general taxpayers, and if you violate the rules, you suffer the compliance efforts. So I don't have numbers right in front of me, not very many, obviously, and I don't believe any of those cases have gone into a criminal investigation. We have very strong internal investigation at the CRA, and we deal with it ourselves, and the discipline can range from not much, if it wasn't something, to termination.
From not much to termination.
May I just interject? I appreciate that answer, Mr. Hamilton. Could you provide this committee with the numbers? I'm afraid that not very many is not a sufficient answer. Would you be able to provide to this committee afterwards the number that were subject to the internal investigation?
Let me take that back, and I'll endeavor to get you those numbers.
Thank you.
Mind you, these are the people who are in charge of our public servants in this case. Now, fast forward a little bit, with all the frustrations of getting non-answers, the question was directly asked one more time.
Okay, so just so that I'm clear, 49 now former employees of ESDC were terminated for fraud related to COVID benefits.
So terminated for fraud. These are people who were asked, who were investigated and were actually terminated in the case. Now, was there any referral to the police, the RCMP, for these cases of fraud, which they were found guilty of within the organization?
Is that correct?
It would be in regards to misrepresentation of their situation when they would be applying for CERB.
Okay. And how many of those cases were referred to law enforcement?
There was no referral to law enforcement, as this was an internal investigation, and it was a review for cause in regards to breaking the code of conduct associated to the employees of all of our department.
So you would assume at some point when people have committed crime within an organization that there might be a referral, especially in the government, that there might be a referral to the police, the RCMP, in this. But nope, that's not what we're gonna get here. But this is where we're at today, where so many employees are under investigation and many agencies are reporting on this. This is SP24 reporting on the situation here.
The Canada Revenue Agency has fired 20 employees that it says inappropriately received CERB payments during the pandemic. The Canada Emergency Response Benefit offered up to $2,000 a month to Canadians whose employment was impacted by the pandemic. The CRA is investigating around 600 possible cases of employees employees among its staff of 60,000. And the agency says misconduct can result in severe disciplinary measures, including termination of employment.
But not severe enough. Not severe enough, apparently, to warrant calling the police over cases of fraud. And this is our government, again, doing what our government does best, and that's not holding people to account in situations where they've broken the rules. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to leave this one off to you guys. Have you collected CERB in the time that you, during the time of the pandemic? Were you eligible? Did you collect it? Were you told to pay this back? And if so, leave a comment in the comment section down below talking about exactly that and what should be done here. Should the RCMP or the police in these cases be investigating into this now that they know that this to be a case, now that they know that this is, can they unilaterally, should they be able to unilaterally jump in there and start investigating this as it is? Anyway, I'll leave this one with you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section down below and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.